Helping your child develop a healthy self-esteem is more important than ever these days. And I know it's something that you wished your parents had helped you with. I'm Carol Tuttle, the author of 7 best-selling books and the author of the very popular Child Whisperer that is available online. And a great place to get it is caroltuttle.com/books. Now, I'm going to teach you 13 fun tips of how to implement strategies to help your children build healthy self-esteem. They won't even know you're doing this. They're super easy to implement in your parenting experience. And I know if you do this is what I always say. One reason I wrote The Child Whisperer, I work with adults primarily in my healing work. In my private practice that I had for a couple decades, I saw adults. Occasionally I'd see family groups and I'd see a couple children here and there. But I'd only see the child if I was working with the adult. I would never see a child independent of the adult for the reason I knew that what's going on for the child was connected to the parents' issues, and they needed to do the clearing work and the healing. And one reason I wrote The Child Whisperer was if I could suspend both intentional and accidental wounding of children, you don't need me anymore in your adult life. It's like, how do we get rid of the self-help industry? We learn to parent children correctly in a way that helps them develop into healthy, balanced, civil, adult human beings with good morals and values to whatever they choose to subscribe to. So The Child Whisperer, this is number 1 tip. The first tip is read this book because you need to learn which of the 4 energy types your child leads with. That will make all the difference. And most of these tips will apply to all 4 types of children, and yet some of them will be better for certain types than others. But knowing your child's inner nature and how that expresses through their personality, their behavioral tendencies, their thoughts and feelings, and how they express themselves, their body language, and how they move through the world will make all the difference in your parenting approach. We have hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews on Amazon for this fabulous book. Are you a fan of The Child Whisperer? Share in a comment. And take a moment and subscribe to my YouTube channel here so you can continue to get connected with my awesome healing videos, and subscribe by hitting the bell. Now, number 1 tip was read The Child Whisperer, understand your child's true nature so you can approach them from that space of understanding. They will love you and grow a deep, lasting bond with you. Second tip is love your child unconditionally, and that's where The Child Whisperer makes all the difference, because you'll say to yourself, okay, if I didn't know that particular choice from my child would really bug me, but right now they're showing me the truth of who they are. How do I work with that? You have much more ability to love without false expectations. Your heart opens, your expectations change when you understand your child's nature, which helps create more room for unconditional love, acceptance, understanding, and you can move into that place from that awareness to be able to influence your child in their better good, and not according to your agenda or your nature. Because what will happen when you don't know your child's true nature is you'll parent them according to your preferences and your energy type without knowing it. Number 2, this is really, really important. Give them praise. Praise the good. I just mentioned in a previous video that my son just got a new puppy. He and his wife and twin daughters they're training a new little puppy, a shepadoodle, and praise. That's how you train a dog. And we were joking with each other to say, this is this is the way to bring forth good behavior is praise the good. So look for the good. Make a note. Put a reminder in your phone. Praise my child today. Look for the good. And what's so exciting about that, what you put your attention to, what you expect, you materialize. So more of it shows up because you're creating space for it to manifest. That's a good thing. Set up a wall of fame to recognize their achievements. This is easily done. You can put it on your refrigerator, but this is just projects they have. It's like recognition. This is extension of praise the good. Type 3 children really respond favorably to this, but children like praise, they like recognition. So a wall of fame can highlight a child's efforts, things they've achieved, things they've done. You can write compliments to each other on it. You just take a big piece of butcher paper and tape it somewhere on a wall. And it's where we're putting out in the public, the family view publicly, the good of each member of the family. Then help them set realistic goals. One-on-one time, communicate with them. What do they want? What are they looking for? What motivates them to achieve that? Let them contribute to those discussions. So often parenting is telling a child what to do rather than them being a part of the plan. So what goals are they wanting to achieve? Understand their nature and what motivates them true to their type. Get them involved in that conversation, making those choices with you being the support role. And it's really important you model for your children in your primary relationship with their other parent the kind of talk that you have in exchange. I just recently shared in another video that if you do a lot of hostile humor and sarcasm, your children are going to see that that's an acceptable form of conversation and do it with each other. As a parent, I never allowed teasing and put downs and sarcasm and hostile humor between our kids. It just wasn't something I supported, and rather than call them out on it, we just again reminded everyone in family meetings every week that this is something when we needed to. It wasn't like it came up every week, but when we need to point it out, it's just the mood of our home is much more positive when we eliminate that. And they are really good at it. To this day, my children do not really speak ill will of anyone. They do not gossip. They are very proactive in seeing the good in people. The next one, resist comparing your children, even in the conversation even if it's in private, with friends, with a family member, extended family member, or the other parent. Just don't compare your kids. Look for the good in each of them and what are they here to bring to your family experience. Teach resiliency to them. I would say to my children, when they'd share something they don't like in their life, they would be enrolled in the point of view of, well, how are you creating that? How are you manifesting that to yourself? What's a belief you need to change? Acknowledge their discomfort and then help them see how they can make a change and be resilient to anything that's uncomfortable or something they don't want. And there are going to be disappointments, and honoring a child's feelings and helping them move through that disappointment with an authentic approach don't create a belief around it. Just one thing I like to say to my kids, I'm sorry that didn't turn out for you, and something better is going to show up. I remember when my oldest daughter did not win. I know, she had tried out for a beauty pageant in the local community we were here in Utah. And it was more an opportunity to put herself out there and develop some of her own self-acceptance and confidence and use her talents. And she didn't win. She just didn't fit that particular niche of who she was. But she came home, and one of the first things she said, I remember her standing in the kitchen and saying, well, I don't have to win a pageant to make a difference in the world. And I thought that was really great, because I'm like, no, you don't. You can do it just being you. And that was just what she showed, resiliency in that moment. Number 8, instill independence and adventure. Get behind them when they want to try something. My son, when he was 15 and a half, almost 16, came home from his sophomore year in high school, towards the end of that year of school, and said, Spencer and I want to ride our bikes across or to California. And I kind of rolled my eyes because I thought, you don't even own a street bike, a road bike. And then he came home the next week and said, we've changed our mind. We want to ride across the country. Well, there's a longer story to that. I actually teach it in Remembering Wholeness. I share that experience and how I needed to get behind him and my husband as well. And boy, did that instill independence and adventure, getting behind him. And he did it. And we'll share that another time. Encourage physical activities, whether it's sports or independent recreation. My kids weren't really a big team sport advocates. They love independent sports, though, mountain biking, snowboarding, the things that they get out and enjoy nature, and really support them in that in a balanced, healthy way. And number 10 goes along with that: respect and encourage your child's interests. Don't make them do things that were really about what you want to do versus what's really attractive to them. I have a story about that too. My type 2 daughter, Anne, when she was in grade school, I enrolled her in softball. Not her thing, but it was more my thing. I didn't get to play when I was a kid. I didn't have that awareness at the time. She would be so nervous and anxious when she got up to the bat. She couldn't even swing the bat. I remember that. I mean, she just froze. She wanted to be in ballet and dance. And we've made amends to that, and we've healed that. But I didn't get behind her because I wasn't aware enough of who she was. Number 11, set rules and be consistent. There are some great, read the book, 1, 2, 3 Magic. My kids are all reading that right now, and they're saying this a lot to my grandchildren. That's 1, that's 2, but it teaches this ability to establish rules and be consistent. And your children get it. They respond like our son's new little puppy, very obedient and being honored at the same time, without fear being the motivator. Number 12, teach them about relationship skills. And that is communication right there. Are you talking as a family? Are you sitting down one-on-one with your children and having real conversations? Are you listening? Are you paying attention to what they're sharing without advising constantly, telling them what to do? Just listening and saying, tell me more. And ending the conversation with, thanks for sharing. Can you get through a conversation with your child without correcting them and just learning about them without feeling you have to be an advisor to them in that moment? That's a big one. I know. I mean, I'm guilty of all of these. I had to learn this, every one of those, because they didn't come from any of this kind of background. My parents certainly weren't role models for this. And then 13, affection is, what is the appropriate affection that your child seeks from you? And again, knowing which type, each type has a little different quality of affection. My little grandson, who's a type 3, type 3s have a little more of a punch in their affection. He's only 2 years old. You can tell he likes you. He sits next to you and he goes like this and pats you really hard. And I'm like, I'm his friend. He just showed me. Type 4s are going to have a little more, oh, my son. In fact, yeah, doesn't Conrad? He wants you to go lay down with him because you just lay next to him rather than cuddling and wrapping him up in your arms. You just lay next to him. He knows you're right there. And type 1s are going to be a little more playful in their affection, and type 2s are typically the cuddlers. So learn what quality of affection, that's going to go so far in helping them build confidence. Now, you may be suffering from and struggling with issues that are from your parents not doing any of this or enough of it. Join me in my healing center for the 4-week healing plan for childhood wounding so you can grow yourself up from your childhood wounds. That's what we do in 4 weeks. It really happens. Make up the difference of where your parents fell short. And in most cases, it wasn't intentional on a parent's effort. They did the best they knew how from what they knew. On occasion, that wasn't the case. So join us. Go to caroltuttle.com/childhood wounding. We'll see you in that so you can grow up that inner child to be happy, well-balanced, and free yourself as an adult. I've done it myself, and it's remarkable. I'll see you there.